Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Route 311 Berry Hill Connector Road Virtual Design Public Hearing. We appreciate your interest in the Route 311 Connector Road project. The presentation that you are about to see has been pre-recorded. Staff will be available during and afterwards to answer any questions. Comments and questions may be submitted after the hearing via one of the four methods that will be discussed during the presentation. Given the unique circumstances of the COVID-19 outbreak, along with our commitment to protecting public health during this national emergency, VDOT is conducting this virtual design public hearing to avoid in-person contact. This presentation will cover the same information that Lynchburg District staff would have shared during the in-person meeting. However, the comment process will be different. Details on how to submit your comments and have your questions answered will be covered later in this presentation. All project information can be found on VDOT's website, www.virginiadot.org. The virtual design public hearing has been convened by the Virginia Department of Transportation and is being held to receive and consider comments for the Route 311 Berry Hill Connector Road project. You may have attended previous public hearings conducted by VDOT. However, for the benefit of those who have never attended one, I would like to explain why and how VDOT conducts a public hearing. A public hearing has four essential purposes. First, to inform the public on the status of the planning of the project and to present the recommendations based on the design to date. Second, to describe the project so that those attending can determine if the project will affect their lives and property. Thirdly, to provide the public an opportunity to see information and express their views at this stage in the planning process when flexibility to respond to comments still exists before design decisions are finalized. Lastly, this hearing is also used to develop a record of public views and participation to accompany recommendations for subsequent decisions. This virtual public hearing is being held in compliance with state laws. The transcripts for this hearing will be made available for the official record. The department will proceed with the final documentation for the design approval process. Your statements and comments will be addressed in this document and will be given full consideration in the final recommendation for the design of the Route 311 Connector Road project. Hello, my name is Raina Rosado, and I am the project manager for the Route 311 Connector Road project. We have a few members of the team online with us today that I will introduce. We have Brian Casto, Lynchburg District's Location and Design Engineer, Matthew Lipscomb, Lynchburg District's Hydraulic Engineer, Matthew Flora with AECOM, that is our Drainage Designer and Engineer, Kevin Bradley, Lynchburg District's Environmental Manager, Michael Sprouse, VDOT's Assistant Right-of-Way Manager, and lastly, Brandy Marchant, a VDOT Right-of-Way Senior Agent. During the presentation, if you have any questions, they can be submitted through the chat box below. After the presentation, we will stay online to answer as many questions as possible. If your question does not get answered due to time limitation, we will follow up promptly. This slide contains the agenda for the virtual design public hearing. We will review briefly the public comment process, review the overall project, discuss the environmental process, and conclude with a discussion of the next steps. How to submit your comments. Comments will be accepted in a number of ways. You may leave a verbal comment via a voicemail at 434-856-8253. Submit a written comment via email using raina.rosado@vdot.virginia.gov or via mail at Virginia Department of Transportation, 4219 Campbell Avenue, Lynchburg, Virginia, 24501. Attention, Raina Rosado. Alternatively, online in the chat below or on the project page on VDOT's website at www.virginiadot.org. Comments must be received or postmarked within 10 days after the virtual design public hearing Friday, August 14th, 2020, to be considered part of the official public hearing record. Here is some brief history and project background. The megasite developed by the Danville, Pennsylvania Regional Industrial Facility Authority, also known as RIFA, is located on an approximately 3,500 acre site along Berry Hill Road, U.S. Route 311. The connector road will be the primary access outside the boundaries of the megasite. The Danville MPO developed and submitted a smart-scale application in the spring and summer of 2018. The submission was in partnership with the City of Danville, Pennsylvania County, and RIFA. The Smart Scale project was scored and was identified to receive state high-priority project funding in the spring of 2019. Another funding stream, Route 58 Corridor Development Funds, was identified and placed on the project, and the Smart Scale funding was removed. The primary purpose of the project is to improve mobility, safety, functionality, and connectivity primarily along the Route 58 corridor. Some secondary points are the connector road will reduce travel times with the development of the megasite, as well as boost economic development and provide more direct access to the megasite. This location map illustrates the approximate location of the new Route 311 Connector Road project that was shared during the location public hearing in June of 2019. The Connector Road project shall connect and provide an alternate means of transportation to the megasite industrial park and reduce the traffic load on existing Route 311 Berry Hill Road. The connector road has been designed to meet the GS3 Rural Connector Road standards with a design speed of 45 miles per hour. This new roadway will extend from Route 311 Berry Hill to Route 58 Danville Expressway. The ultimate design condition is to provide a 4-lane divided highway with a concrete raised median approximately 16 feet wide. The current design will present a typical section that serves present-day needs while designing for future improvements. The current connector road typical section will build two 12-foot lanes with 8-foot wide shoulders, one in each direction, that will later serve as the eastbound lanes in the future, and will grade for the westbound lanes. This allows for the installation of infrastructure that can be modified in the future that will mitigate future environmental impacts to existing streams and wetlands and surrounding properties. There are 5 secondary roadways that will be redeveloped to provide a cohesive connection to the new connector road's horizontal and vertical alignment. The typical section for Route 874 Buford Road, Route 1260 Oak Ridge Farm Road, Collie Lane, and Route 1055 Bachelor Hall Farm Road will consist of two 11-foot lanes with 5-foot wide shoulders. The next few slides will represent the plan view of the corridor. After reviewing each plan view, I will zoom in to allow for a closer look. As we review the project, I will highlight significant aspects of the design. Beginning at the intersection of Route 311, the connector road will tie into the existing 2-lane section, and as we travel eastward, the pavement width will begin to widen to accommodate the new Route 311 connection to the connector road. At this intersection, the design will incorporate a right turn lane in the westbound direction to allow for free flow movement onto existing Route 311. The through movement from Berry Hill will continue to the 58 bypass rather than intersecting with Route 58. Additionally, approximately 1,150 feet of existing Route 311 Berry Hill Road will be abandoned and obscured. Continuing eastward towards Route 874 Buford Road, the horizontal and vertical alignment along Buford Road has been designed to improve the overall function of the roadway and to provide sight distance at the new intersection of the proposed connector road. These plans feature several culverts and stormwater basins. The storm sewer system was designed to meet the 10-year design storm event. The culvert crossings were designed to ensure that impacts to the 100-year water surface elevations were minimized to protect adjacent and surrounding properties. Throughout the development of this corridor, there are several stream crossings and multiple outfalls. Therefore, the management of stormwater, both quantity and quality, became a critical part of the design and was of utmost concern. Continuing along the corridor, we have the extension of Route 1260 Oak Ridge Farm Road to provide the new ingress and egress to the connector road while closing the existing connection to address the spacing concerns and the close proximity to the existing interchange ramps. A cul-de-sac will be provided to allow residents, school buses, and emergency vehicles an opportunity to successfully turn around within the subdivision. During the location public hearing held on June 6, 2019 at Roseville Elementary, we received several comments from the residents along Route 1055 Bachelor Hall Farm Road to not connect Bachelor Hall Farm Road to the new connector road. Presently, the main ingress and egress to Bachelor Hall Farm Road is off of existing Route 311. Therefore, a cul-de-sac has been incorporated at the end of Route 1055 to allow residents, school buses, and emergency vehicles an opportunity to successfully maneuver within the subdivision. As we begin to arrive at the Route 58 connection, as previously stated, the existing Oak Ridge Farm Road access will be obscured and a cul-de-sac installed. Collie Lane shall tie into the connector road to serve those residents. Throughout this section of corridor, there are significant fill slopes that will require guardrail. These plans also reflect the proposed right-of-way and utility easements necessary to develop the connector road. During the construction phase, access to private and commercial entrances shall be maintained at all times during the life of the project. All traffic control devices shall be placed and moved as necessary to maintain adequate property owner access at all times. Since the last public hearing, we have worked on implementing the comments we received during the location public hearing, as well as gathering of information and conducting environmental and geotechnical investigations. Technical documentation for this project address the potential environmental impacts identified in the preliminary engineering process. These areas of consideration include archaeological resources, historic resources, wetlands, waters of the U.S., biological resources, hazardous material, and the State Environmental Review Process, also known as SERP. In addition to the other items listed above, the State Environmental Review Process has been completed for the project. The following slides will include a brief summary of the findings. The William and Mary Center for Archaeological Research conducted an archaeological survey of the environmental project corridor associated with the proposed construction of Berry Hill Connector Road in Pittsylvania County. The investigation was intended to provide specific information concerning the nature and the distribution of archaeological resources within the proposed project corridor. The project corridor occupies an area of approximately 109 acres and consists largely of mature and secondary growth forest, farmland, and rural residential properties. Field work involves systematic pedestrian survey of the project corridor, including both surface examination and shovel testing. Archaeological and architectural surveys are complete. VDOT has determined that all newly discovered sites and archaeological isolated finds are not eligible for the National Register of Historic Places, and that no further work is recommended. The Department of Historic Resources concurred on May 13, 2020. The project has 15 stream and wetland crossings impacting Childress Creek, tributaries to Childress Creek, tributaries to the Dan River, tributaries to McGuff Creek, and associated wetlands. The total permanent stream impacts are 1,915 linear feet and 360 linear feet of total temporary stream impacts. Total permanent wetland impacts are 4 acres and 0.96 acres of temporary wetland impacts. Wetland impact compensation includes purchasing of 6.92 credits from the Bannister Bend Wetland Bank. Stream impact compensation includes purchasing 2,285 stream credits from the Roanoke River Mitigation Bank. The Dan River is listed as threatened and endangered waters for the following species of mussels: James spiny mussel, green floater, and the Atlantic pigtoe. The freshwater mussel site habitat assessment was performed along Childress Creek and its tributaries within the project area. No mussels were seen, live or shells, and no potential mussel habitat was identified. Based on observations made during the assessment, it is unlikely that this project will impact any native freshwater mussels in Childress Creek, its tributaries, or the Dan River downstream from the project. The Department of Wildlife Resources concurred on March 18, 2020. The presence of the northern long-eared bat was identified in the project's official species list. Tree removal is required as part of the project and is listed as an activity that may affect the northern long-eared bat. There are no known tabernacle or roost trees in the project vicinity. In January and February of 2020, a limited Phase 1 environmental site assessment, corridor study, and Phase 2 investigation was conducted respectively. The Phase 1 environmental site assessment corridor study, which assessed potential recognized environmental conditions within or adjoining the environmental study area that may affect construction methods, design, or cost of the proposed improvements. One location was identified due to the uncertainty of the extent of the partially buried waste seen at the surface. Subsurface exploration activities were recommended. No evidence indicative of buried solid waste or petroleum-impacted soil was present in soil cores collected in the vicinity of the recognized environmental condition. Let me provide you now with information regarding the anticipated right-of-way for this project. There will be approximately 50 acres of proposed right-of-way needed for the Route 311 Berry Hill Connector Road project. The right-of-way will be acquired from numerous properties along the east and west sides of the project corridor. No business, residents, or non-profit organizations will be displaced as a result of this project. All rights-of-way acquisition will be completed in accordance with the Uniform Relocation Assistance and Real Property Acquisitions Policy Act of 1970, amended in 1987. The acquisition of necessary rights-of-way for this project will be handled by VDOT. All proposed acquisitions will follow federal and state laws and VDOT policies and procedures. The Uniform Relocation Assistance and Real Property Acquisition Policy Act of 1970, known as the Uniform Act, is the federal law that is followed for appraisals, negotiations, and relocations of families and businesses. Each property will undergo a valuation process to determine the fair market value for each acquisition. During negotiations, the landowner will receive a copy of the acquisition valuation, a title examination, a bona fide offer in writing for the acquisition, along with all pertinent construction plan sheets. The VDOT negotiator will communicate with the landowner to ensure all questions, comments, and concerns are addressed. In the spring of 2019, Route 58 corridor development funds were placed on the project. The project currently has funds for preliminary engineering, right-of-way, relocation of utilities, and construction. The total project estimate is $33.46 million. To recap, in the fall of 2019, a location public hearing was held to determine the corridor alignment location. Comments were received and addressed and presented to the Commonwealth Transportation Board for review and approval. On September 18, 2019, the Commonwealth Transportation Board passed a resolution approving the location public hearing. We are here today to review and discuss the current design for the Route 311 Berry Hill Connector Road project. Comments must be submitted and received 10 days after this meeting to be part of the design approval process. After comments are received and addressed, a request for design approval shall be made to the chief engineer for approval. After receipt of approval, the right-of-way acquisition and final design process will begin. The anticipated advertisement for construction date is the fall of 2022. Let's recap how you can submit your comments. Comments will be accepted in a number of ways. You may leave a verbal comment via voicemail at 434-856-8253. Submit a written comment via email using reina.rosado@vdot.virginia.gov or via mail at Virginia Department of Transportation, 4219 Campbell Avenue, Lynchburg, Virginia, 24501. Attention, Reina Rosado. Alternatively, online in the chat below or on the project page on VDOT's website at www.virginiadot.org. Comments must be received or postmarked within 10 days after the virtual design public hearing, Friday, August 14, 2020, to be considered part of the official public hearing record. We encourage the public to stay informed. The schematics and presentation, including graphics, will be posted on our website, www.virginiadot.org. Should you have any further questions, please feel free to contact me, Reina Rosado, at the number listed. Thank you for watching and participating in this very important virtual design public hearing for the Route 311 Berry Hill Connector Road. This concludes the virtual design public hearing presentation.